Today, I would like to tell you about it. For a very long time, I lived in a big city. I lived on the 6th floor of a large building. My neighbors and I had little contact with each other. Every morning at 7 o'clock, I would go to work. My job was repetitive, and I longed for a more meaningful life. Usually, I would return home exhausted in the evening. Most of the time, I felt stressed out. I couldn't relax because I was quite unhappy. So, I started to eat more and more unhealthily. Because I no longer felt like cooking, I ate fast food 3 or 4 times a week. I didn't have fun, even when I was with other people. Then, I received a phone call that changed my life. My grandmother was ill. I spent every day with her at the hospital. You can imagine my deep sadness. I was so afraid of losing my grandma. She passed away 12 days after the phone call. At her funeral, I shed a lot of tears. My grandmother was always there for me, no matter what. She was my closest friend and helped me make difficult decisions. The passing of my grandmother deepened my life crisis even more. But I also realized how precious and fleeting life is. While cleaning out my grandmother's flat, I was overwhelmed with emotion. I no longer wanted to live in the city. I no longer wanted my monotonous life. My grandmother used to say that happiness was more important than money or wealth. I quit my job. My boss was shocked, but I felt very relieved. It was definitely time for something new in my life. So, I decided to move to a small, picturesque village. When I cleared out my office, I felt anxious. What would I do without financial security? Would it be possible for me to find a new job? The village I moved to was in the middle of the countryside. Everything was perfect. The birds were singing everywhere. I rented a place in an old building surrounded by a sprawling, lush garden. I loved my new home. There, I often thought of my grandma. She always used to say that happiness was the most important thing in life. After a week, I found a job on a farm. I took care of the livestock and cleaned up the barn. I thoroughly enjoyed the physical work. I also picked vegetables in the fields and got to take some home with me. Every day, I had fresh vegetables and enjoyed them so much. Cooking was my thing, and I tried a lot of healthy dishes. In the evenings, I did something I had not done in a long time. I read books. I devoured several novels each week. I also frequently went for walks in the woods and picked flowers for my apartment. One day, I stumbled upon a tiny cat while exploring the woods. Walking through the village was what I enjoyed the most. The vibe of the village was completely different from the city. People smiled at me and greeted me warmly. It was easy to meet new people here. My new neighbor was very kind to me. She always found time for me. Yesterday, I brought her some slices of apple pie. My neighbor invited me to go to a village festival with her. Of course, I accepted the invitation. It was one of the liveliest festivals I've ever experienced. I couldn't believe how much my life had changed. I adored the simple life in the countryside. Nature has given me new strength, as have the people in the village. What makes you happy or gives you strength?
Useful words and expressions. Repetitive. Something that happens over and over in the same way. Examples. The repetitive workouts at the gym made him lose interest in exercising. My job was repetitive, and I longed for a more meaningful life. Exhausted. Extremely tired. After running a marathon, she felt completely exhausted. Usually, I would return home exhausted in the evening. Stressed out. Feeling very anxious or overwhelmed due to pressure. He was stressed out about the upcoming exams. Most of the time, I felt stressed out. To shed tears. To cry, usually in response to strong emotions. She shed tears of joy at her wedding ceremony. At her funeral, I shed a lot of tears. Fleeting. Lasting for a very short time, passing quickly. Examples. For a fleeting moment, the rain stopped and the sun came out. The passing of my grandmother deepened my life crisis even more, but I also realized how precious and fleeting life is. To clean out. To organize and remove unnecessary items from a place. She spent the weekend cleaning out her closet to make space for new clothes. While cleaning out my grandmother's flat, I was overwhelmed with emotion. Monotonous, boring,